Welcome to The Explainer. You know, for the longest time, I was completely convinced that if I couldn't carve out a full, exhausting hour for the gym, there was literally no point in working out. My mornings were packed, my motivation was low, and honestly, I just wanted a sustainable habit that wouldn't burn me out. So today, we're diving straight into the hard evidence behind a concept that completely shifted how I view fitness, the minimal dose approach. We're going to look at the actual science to see exactly what a tiny time investment can really do for your body.
Okay, let's dive into this, because this is the central question that sparks the most skepticism, right? Is 10 minutes of exercise a day genuinely enough to get visible, measurable results? For decades, we've been told we need to spend hours at the gym, chug protein shakes, and just completely overhaul our lives to see any changes. But as it turns out, modern exercise science is telling a very, very different story.
Here is what completely reframed my entire perspective. Just 1%. Let's do the math real quick. There are 1,440 minutes in a single day. If you sleep for 8 hours, you're awake for 960 minutes. A 10-minute workout takes up merely 1% of your standard waking day. When we look at it this way, the barrier to entry suddenly seems incredibly low. But the big question remains, can this 1% actually trigger real biological changes?
Section 1. The minimum effective dose.
To figure this out, we have to look at the minimum effective dose. Basically, finding the smallest possible investment that gives you a meaningful return. From a psychological standpoint, starting with just 10 minutes helps overcome this thing called learned helplessness. It's that familiar, frustrating feeling of, well, if I can't do a full hour, what's the point of even trying? Sources from fitness and nutrition coaching emphasize that a short daily session acts as a perfect gateway habit. Take the case study of a 52-year-old woman named Valerie. She started with just 10 minutes of strength training a day. By making this tiny 1% of her day a deeply rooted habit, she ultimately lost 10 kilos. The 10 minutes sparked a positive momentum that completely transformed her body.
Section 2. Science of the Afterburn. So the psychology holds up, but how does a super short workout actually burn enough energy to matter physically? It all comes down to EPOC, or excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. When you push your body hard for just a few minutes, you disturb your body's resting state, its homeostasis. After the workout ends, your body has to work overtime to restore hormone balance, synthesize cellular energy, and oxidize free fatty acids. All of this recovery work requires oxygen and energy, which means you're literally still burning calories long after your 10-minute timer goes off.
So, the crucial point is that intensity offsets the short duration. Studies show that while a long, steady jog might burn more calories during the actual exercise itself, high-intensity anaerobic training creates a significantly greater EPOC effect. Your metabolic rate remains elevated for hours. A 1992 Purdue study even found that anaerobic exercise resulted in a greater magnitude of EPOC than aerobic exercise of equal work output. In short, going hard for just 10 minutes absolutely maximizes that afterburn.
Section 3. 10 minutes, better mood. The turning point for many people, though, goes way beyond fat loss and muscle retention. When we shift our focus to the psychological and neurological evidence, it's pretty amazing. A systematic review published in the journal Frontiers investigated the effects of exercise duration on emotional well-being. They found that you do not need long sessions to see massive neurological benefits. In fact, exercise lasting just 10 to 30 minutes was highly effective in rapidly improving mood, reducing fatigue, and lowering psychological distress. These short bursts are perfectly optimized to give you rapid, lasting, positive emotional benefits without causing that deep central nervous system fatigue you sometimes get after a grueling 90-minute workout.
Section 4. Resistance exercise snacking. Now that we know exactly why it works, let's look at practical ways to actually fit this into a crazy busy schedule. Enter a concept I absolutely love: resistance exercise snacking. A review of minimal dose strategies defines this as brief bouts of resistance exercise performed once or more daily. Habit stacking works wonders here. Instead of dedicating a continuous 45-minute block of time to lifting weights, you might do 2 minutes of squats in the morning while coffee brews, 2 minutes of push-ups before lunch, and 2 minutes of lunges in the afternoon. It is a highly efficient way to build muscle strength without ever setting foot in a gym.
And this brilliantly illustrates how these minimal dose strategies map out across a normal week. Looking at the weekend warrior approach at the top, you're cramming 45 to 60 minutes into one day. That can be tough to sustain. But drop down to the exercise snacks row, it breaks that volume down into tiny, totally manageable bites spread across every single day of the week, totaling about 70 minutes weekly. Research shows that for people currently doing no resistance training, both approaches significantly increase muscle strength. You just have to pick the one that fits your lifestyle.
Section 5. Finding your fitness level.
Here's an honest reality check, though. A 10-minute workout is only effective if it's tailored to your current baseline. If it's too easy, you won't trigger that EPOC afterburn we talked about. But if it's too hard, you'll burn out, or worse, get injured. A great way to understand this is by comparing two massively popular internet fitness programs, Chloe Ting and Pamela Reif. As reviewed by a physiotherapist, these programs serve entirely different baselines. Chloe Ting's workouts are beginner-friendly, with slower pacing and include plenty of guided breaks, which is perfect if you've been sedentary. Pamela Reif's routines, on the flip side, are advanced, high-intensity, and often offer zero breaks. If you're a beginner and you jump straight into an advanced 10-minute routine, it's just not going to work out well. You have to match those 10 minutes to what you can currently handle.
If you're wondering how to ease into this, coaching experts Jeremy and Nevin lay out a brilliant, simple progression. Step 1 is literally just starting with 5 minutes a day, doing a single set of basic exercises. Step 2 escalates to a full 10-minute routine just 2 to 4 times a week. And Step 3 naturally builds to 20 minutes by introducing progressive overload, basically making the exercises slightly harder over time. Consistency naturally builds your capacity without feeling overwhelming.
Section 6. Your daily workout routine. Let's move to the fun part and see how this builds into actionable routines you can try immediately. Here is a prime example of a full-body, no-equipment circuit from Gold's Gym. You perform each of these 5 exercises for 45 seconds, followed by 15 seconds of rest, and repeat the whole circuit twice. Jump squats build explosive power. Push-ups target the upper body and core. Mountain climbers absolutely spike your heart rate. Lunges build lower body stability, and the forearm plank locks in deep core strength. Because you are resting so little, prioritizing good form and giving high effort makes these few minutes incredibly effective for generating that afterburn.
But let's be real. What if high intensity just isn't your goal today? What if your body is just incredibly stiff from sitting at a desk? Well, a 10-minute minimal dose can also be applied to mobility. Just 10 minutes of a daily flow, using movements like child's pose to decompress your lower back, or the cobra stretch to mobilize the spine, can vastly improve your posture and joint health. You don't always have to sweat buckets to make that 1% count. Sometimes simply restoring your body's range of motion is exactly the dose you need.
As we wrap up this explainer, looking back on the real-world results of this minimal dose approach, I want to leave you with this perfect summary quote from our fitness coaching sources. Every action, no matter how small, counts and matters in the bigger picture. Doing something, anything, is scientifically, physiologically, and psychologically far better than doing nothing. We've seen the hard data on EPOC, the mood-boosting benefits from the Frontier study, and the incredible results from minimal dose exercise snacking. So, here's the final thought I want you to walk away with. If dedicating just 1% of your waking day can objectively change your physical health and your mental well-being, what is stopping you from taking that 10 minutes tomorrow? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I hope you feel ready to go make that 1% count.